Hello everyone. I'm finally getting ready to put my YouTube videos together for this product that I've been selling for 14 years and share with you some of my experience so that you can learn from it. It's how to create, manufacture, and sell a physical product. So it's something that comes from your mind and something that you want to sell, mostly online. So I split this into 10 ideas. So this is the first one. I want you to be realistic about your expectations. I'm going to go into how to learn things for free, how the retail ecosystem works, and about shipping. That's a huge part of manufacturing things. A 5X rule for pricing, advertising and conversions, and how to learn by looking around you at other products, how to do your customer relationships, and how to sell in various places, and about prototyping and manufacturing. This is somebody from the trenches. I never made a full-time income doing this. Number one, you have to be realistic. You're going to think your idea is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Maybe it is. But you're more likely to fail than not. To be honest, you might make a little bit of money, and you're very unlikely to make a lot of money. However, you may still want to do it because it's a very fulfilling thing to do. So, you have an idea for a product. Awesome. You can do it. You need to have some money, time, you need perseverance, and you need support from your family, if that's a part of your life, and don't quit your day job, as they say. So your product really needs to be something that you're passionate about, and you should solve your own problems. And if you're not solving your own problems, you're going to have a hard time as an inventor to show passion about what you're doing. If you want to look on Alibaba.com to get ideas or to brainstorm or to see whether or not what you're thinking about doing has already been done, that's an important resource. And if you want to just make money selling stuff, that's Alibaba.com. That's really not making your own product. So the backstory for laptop lifts is I had a 2006 MacBook Pro in 2006, and it was very slippery, and it ran hot, and I was worried about spills. So I tried some various things that were available at the time, adhesives, sleeves, and stuff like that, and they didn't really work. And when I was at work, I kept my computer on pencils just so the heat would dissipate, and I was really paranoid about dropping it because I was, kind of clumsy. So, and I saw similar comments online, and I just said, I'm going to go for it. So I ended up doing it. So the text is reversed, but this is what they look like in a package. They're just large rubber feet with adhesive on the bottom, and they look like this on a computer. So this is not the original MacBook, but it's a pretty old one, and this is what it is. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, but available for sale on Amazon and eBay. That's kind of where we're headed with this. So just some numbers, because it was hard to get numbers. Nobody ever told me numbers. So in 2006, I got the spark of the idea. I made my first sale, and I had a full-time job because of life circumstances. Towards the end, I was freed from my responsibilities. I was let go at this time. I don't recommend it. It was not on purpose. I made my first sale in 2008. I get them manufactured, and I've ordered as many as 2,000 at a time. Usually it's about 1,500 at a time. The cost of the first unit, basically my startup cost, is about $18,000. Now I get them for $3.24 a unit, and landed cost, which is after I get them made in China. But I'll go into more about that later. I did work with somebody from the U.S., and he's like, "Oh yeah, my factory's in China." I was like, "Okay." So the list price is $19.95 on Amazon, $16.95 on eBay. I've shipped them out of my house for eBay. I could ship them out of my house for Amazon. I use FBA. I'll get into that in a later video. Gross profit per unit with no advertising. I really can't afford to advertise. I'll get into that more later. From Amazon, I make about $6.20 a unit. From eBay, I make about $8.44 a unit. At this point, at various times in the last 14 years, I've sold more on eBay. Well, not ever really more on eBay, but Amazon is 99% of what I do, and it's what I would recommend to anybody going forward. To give you an idea of how many units I've sold of this, 747 units in 2010, 1,300 in 2015. Those may be kind of a peak. And last year I sold 571 units. So total about 10,000 units over 14 years. I've made over the profit over the course of this adventure about $77,000. Pretty good, but not any time a full-time income. And in 2007, I probably worked about 2,700 hours. I worked a lot. I made negative. There was money in. So that's where you really need to don't quit your day job because you're going to need it. And in 2008, getting started, I made some money that year, made some first sales, ended up working for about $2 an hour. So after 3 years, I was able to break even on my startup cost. And last year, I maybe worked 20 hours. So I didn't make very much money in terms of making a living, but it turns out to be about $242 an hour. So, that's pretty good now. The value of the experience to me has been priceless. I've gotten a lot of personal pride out of it. I've learned a lot. I've been able to apply the lessons I learned into my day job, my career, at various companies I work for. It's always something that I'm now aware of when I'm working with things or buying something. I was like, hey, I know how that process works. So that's good. Thousands and thousands of people do what I did and don't make it on a Shark Tank. I went on a Cow Call audition to a similar show back when, like a made-for-TV, like a copycat show of Shark Tank, basically. And there was a line around the block to get in, just in my city. And I was one of the only people there who had actually manufactured something. It was mostly prototypes. A show like Shark Tank, if you're watching this, you probably know what Shark Tank is. If you don't like Shark Tank, you're really not going to like trying to do this. Shark Tank is I like Shark Tank. It's very educational to see, oh, that was a blunder that person made, or that's a good idea. So watch that. Also, very important, read this. If you don't have the patience to read a couple of books, this is not for you. You need to have a lot of stick-to-itiveness and a lot of perseverance to be able to do this. This is a great book that I read after I'd done it. This woman, Tamara Monosov, she basically created a company that aggregates a lot of these things. But the most important quote that she has is that very few $1 million products, but lots of $50,000 products. And mine is one of the $50,000 products. Excellent book. Lays all this stuff out in really good detail. This is another popular book where you talk about business systems. So I advise reading it, even if you're not talking about it. It's a great book for anybody who's doing any kind of business. And coincidentally, I was able to hear Michael Gerber speak. He came to my town, and I went to see him. And he is a nut. He was a jazz saxophonist, and some relative said, hey, Michael, could you come speak at my company? And he just was like, sure, man. And he goes in and he looks around. He says, you know what? It'd be better off if you did this and this. And he had no business experience at all. And he just went in and just saw the vision. I don't know, interesting, excellent book to read. So something to be aware of is, are you creating a widget or are you creating a business? What I created, Laptop List, is a widget. So, and some people called it a hobby, it irritated me. I was like, no, it's not. It's my business. It's my business. I'm the CEO. I know what they mean now. What I did is basically a side hustle. In order to make a business, you really have to think about a product line. And in what I have, it was just one solution to one problem. I could never really figure out how to extend it. It was always a one-time thing. If you maybe have a type of product line you might be able to develop is maybe sports equipment for training for soccer. If you're really good at that and you have a bunch of new ideas for devices to use, that might be something where you could develop as a business where you could expand. Trying to get it with one product at a time, you're talking about widgets. So I'm only really qualified to talk about widgets and creating a widget, but I can see the pathway to a business. I just haven't done that. And you be realistic about your addressable market size. So it's not everybody, right? So that when I started off, I would say, there's 100 million computers, so if I can just get on 1% of the computers, I'll sell 1 million devices. And that's like totally wrong. It's like you think, everybody brushes their teeth, so if I have a new toothbrush and I only have to sell it to, half of 1% of the people and I'll be a billionaire. That's not how it works. You have to figure out who your market is. And one of the challenges that I had with my product is my market was kind of everybody. It's a vague market, but I did end up going after people who might have problems with their hands, maybe problems being able to handle a computer. I went after people who were kind of power users, which I was at the time. I'm a developer, it's my day job. Anybody had these computers that needed heat, so I got a lot of business from DJs that needed something, and the ability and the product doesn't slip. So that if you put this on a table, it doesn't slip at all. So that's that was kind of something that I discovered after I bought them and put them on my computers. And for a lot of people that it helped. So people that put a computer on a tray, stuff like that. But anyway, defining your market for your product is going to help you with your make your advertising dollars make sense. For my product, advertising didn't really make sense because I was trying to advertise to everybody. My margins weren't the same. I'll get more into that in future lessons. And there's a common phrase, riches and niches. So if you make a paintbrush set for model airplanes, that's an addressable market. You can make ads, targeted ads for just those people, and maybe have some success in selling it and getting some good conversion rates on your stuff. Oops. Oh yeah, and you'll never be able to compete on price as an individual. And this first thing, it blew my mind. I was at the time I was doing kind of like door to door, trying to sell my product basically out of the trunk of my car kind of thing. And I went to a computer store nearby, and this guy kind of took me, not exactly under his wing, but he took me into the back room. He owned a few computer stores in the area, like a mom and pop computer store. And he's telling me, you know what? I buy a shipping container full of headphones, full of earbuds at the time. They were competing with the Apple earbuds. I buy a shipping container full of them for 19 cents a piece, and I sell them for $5. You'll never be able to make anything for 19 cents. And I was like, you're right. So you cannot compete at that. I see a lot of people, I've spoken to a number of people, and you think it yourselves, you see something in a Home Depot, a hammer, it's like, I could make a better hammer than that, and I could make it cheaper. You can't. But you might be able to make a great hammer for a specific purpose that people are willing to pay for. So that's what you should focus on, making the best thing you can, and you try to get to a place where it's not price sensitive. Like, for example, my laptop lifts, I sell it for $20. I'm solving a $20 problem. You could do the same thing, gluing bottle caps on your computer. I have some comments that, I just glue bottle caps on my computer. Okay, great, that works for you. But at the time that I made them, and still, if you wanted factory feet for your computer, you were paying about $35, and you'd have to glue them yourself. So at the time that I was doing it, there's been a lot of competition. Or you could go to get hardware store feet for like 50 cents or a couple of dollars. So my market is the person that's willing to solve their $35 problem for $20 and willing to pay a premium. So that's why I'm selling rubber feet for $20. It's what I need to do to be able to make this and sell it. That's the price I need to get. But it is possible to be profitable. I'm profitable. I'm not making a living doing this, but I've been making money doing it. So that's kind of what I can tell you to do. And in the process of doing this thing, if you decide to go on this adventure, treat it like an adventure. You will learn a lot about all kinds of things. And if you work in a day job doing just about anything, you're going to become an improved version of yourself just by trying this. And it's going to be, you'll be glad you did it. But if if you're ever turned off a lot, or if a lot of people are telling you this is not a good idea, it might be a good idea to listen to them. In my case, most people thought, oh, that's a great idea. So I had I couldn't really do a test because the way my product was, I'll get into prototyping later, but I couldn't really be sure that it worked the way I thought it was going to work until I paid the money and took the risk and got it manufactured. Your mileage may vary. You might be able to make nowadays you can make things on CNC machines and stuff like that and get one made. For me to get one made, I had to make 1,000. But now that's not necessarily the case. Anyway, so that was the first of 10. So thanks for watching this far. Next time, I'll go over how to learn things for free from manufacturers, lawyers, business executives, at least in the United States, and retailers. So thanks a lot for sticking around, and hope to see you again. Or I don't see you, but hope you'll watch me again.